Hey guys, so it's been a while since you see my face, huh? First of all, excuse my scatterbrained. I've had a glass of wine on an empty stomach. I haven't eaten anything tonight, so bear with me. I'm a little tipsy and I'm a huge lightweight as well, so bear with me. So I just posted to my Instagram stories that I had a first date from hell, and I'm here to talk to you guys about it. I've been watching a lot of Storytimes lately, a la Tana Mojo, a la Jessie Smiles, so I just thought I would make one of my own because I think it's kind of a hilarious story, and yeah. So I have been going, okay, warning now, if you're one of my younger viewers, don't suggest watching this, because I'm gonna swear in this video because I fucking want to, because honestly I'm kind of fired up right now. So I made notes on my phone while I was on this date, because it was so awkward, and I'll get to that, but yeah, I was making notes so I have things to talk about. So I've been on Tinder for a while. I've been fucking around with Tinder for a while. I got a message from this guy that I matched with on Tinder. We were like, I got off work around 7-ish tonight, and it's currently like 9:20 right now. Anyway, I messaged him, or I texted him because he gave me his number, and I was like, hey, you want to meet for drinks downtown somewhere? So we met for drinks at one of my favorite kind of little places in Sundance Square in downtown Fort Worth. If you're familiar with downtown Fort Worth, you know the area I'm talking about. It's just kind of like a popular area. That's where the city Christmas tree is and everything. That's not important. I don't know why I'm telling you that. Anyway, so we met for drinks. Literally, so I'm a couple minutes late just because my Uber decided, that's the start of this whole day, this whole night, is that my Uber decided to drive. It's raining today, which means every person in the state of frickin' Texas decides to drive at like snail's speed, which I get it, better safe than sorry, but this guy is literally driving 3 fucking miles an hour, and I Uber everywhere. In case you did not know, I do not drive, don't want to get into it. So I arrive at this bar, and it's a bar restaurant kind of thing. We're sitting up at the bar, and I order a glass of wine, and I don't remember what he had, some fucking thing, I don't know. So we order our drinks. We're sitting talking, literally not even 5 minutes into the discussion. We're just like, hey, what do you do for a living? Oh, I do blah, blah, blah. Literally just drops his bomb on me. Oh, I'm a little kind of whatever. Like, first of all, okay, he's not actually from Texas. He just comes to Texas a lot. He's originally from New York. He lives in New York. And he comes to Texas a lot for work. So, he was in town for work, and he was like, oh, by the way, because I asked, like, he had under his phone case, he had like one of those silicone-y phone cases. Under his phone case, he had a picture of a girl. And I was like, and it was like a young girl, but not like child. She was like, anyway, so I asked like, oh, who's the girl? And he just like looks at me, literally like 3 minutes into the date, looks at me, and he's like, my sister was murdered 3 weeks ago. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry about that. And he just goes into this whole story about vividly how his sister was murdered, which I won't go into because frankly, I mean, I'm not trying to be insensitive, that fucking sucks. And I'd be in the same position he was, but don't bring that up 3 minutes into a first date, you fuckwad. Like, I gone through my own shit. Like, I get it. Like, I've gone through some pretty terrible shit. But I'm not gonna bring that up 3 minutes into a first date. And that's not me being insensitive, and I'm sorry if that comes off as insensitive, but anyone that knows me personally knows I'm not that person, yeah. So, he just keeps going on and on, like, telling vivid stories, going into, like, talking about police reports, all that kind of stuff. It was weird. It was really weird. So then we leave the bar. We're going over to a pretty prominent restaurant about a block away. But we had to cross the square. And the square is where the Christmas tree is. It's like this giant Christmas tree. Nothing on like Rockefeller Center or anything, but it's this giant Christmas tree. And so we walk across the square and we see this giant Christmas tree, and he stops in the middle of the square and just looks up at the Christmas tree and goes, "Oh, Christmas is gonna be so hard without my sister." As soon as I had forgotten that he had just told me all about his sister and all the gritty details. So we keep walking. We go over to this restaurant. We sit down, and it's this kind of like New Orleans kind of themed restaurant. I'm sure if you frequent downtown Fort Worth, you know what I'm talking about. So we sit down, and conversation's going good. We're talking about work, we're talking about, you know, blah, 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 blah. We're joking around. I'm really sarcastic, so I'm kind of like vibing. Sorry, I start talking, I've spent way too much time with the people that I work with that I start talking like them, so I apologize for the weird lingo that I start. Anyway, and he brings up his sister again. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna talk about this again. And then I kind of go into, yeah, I dealt with some shit too, and like, you know, I'm not trying to like minimize his stuff, but like, you know, he asked like what my tattoos are about and things like that, and I told him about my best friend Katie, and like like I just told him about her, and like generally, and then I kind of like, oh yeah, she's helped me through a lot of shit. And he's like, oh, what are you talking about? So I kind of like go in generally about like, oh, I was like, diagnosed with clinical depression, I kind of had anxiety a little bit, a lot better now, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no, I want to know. And so I went into detail, like I've been in psych wards a couple of times, blah, 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 kind of went into more detail. He's like, no, I really want to know. I'm like, okay. So I tentatively tell him, like, yeah, I was suicidal for a little bit, like, you guys all know all of this shit, like, I've kind of been pretty upfront about all of this. So, and he's like, thank you for being real with me, and then he starts getting weird again. And so then I'm like, I start making notes on my phone. We had already ordered our food at this point. I was already a glass of wine down, so I was just drinking sweet tea. And the waitress comes over to take our order. Basically, we're like in the middle, I'm in the middle of telling my like darkest secrets to this stranger. And the waitress comes over and it's like super awkward. And we don't say anything after she like walks away. We don't say anything for a good like couple of minutes. And it's just really weird. And he's like, you're being really weird now. Like, did I say something? And I'm like, no, it's just, it was weird that she like came over in the middle of my deep dark story. It was odd. So I was just like feeling a little self-conscious. So I keep telling him, like I'm still telling him my story, and he's like, damn, that sucks. And then goes into more gritty details about his sister and how like her son was like, is really shaken up and calls him every day traumatized. And I'm like, okay, like I understand. Like I'm not trying to minimize. I'm not trying to be insensitive, so don't take it as that. But it was just like, oh, that sucks, but like my problem's worse. That's what he's basically saying. And I was like, I stopped saying anything at this point. Like I'm just kind of like, yeah, not making any eye contact. It was really weird. And I hope it didn't come off as like me being insensitive. So at this point, I'm like, can I just be real with you for a second? Like, if this is not me being insensitive, I hope it doesn't come off that way, but like, this is just kind of a downer. And he was like, he gets all pissed off at me, and I'm like, no. Like, he starts standing up to leave, and I'm like, no, sit down, we can talk about this. And he goes on and on and on and on. And at this point, he just goes, I can see you're not feeling it. Like, maybe we should just call it a night and just like cancel our food or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, maybe that's better. And he's like, yeah, like, you're not really worth my time anyway. Or like, you're nothing to me anyway, or something like that. And I'm like, at this point I was like, okay, bitch, like, what? Like, dude, not really the thing to say to the girl that's already kind of like done, you know? So we both stand up. He basically just like walks out of the restaurant. And I walk up to our waitress and I'm like, look, it's not you guys, it was us, it was a first date from hell. Like, go ahead and cancel our food. The waitresses that are standing there are all like, what? Like, what's going on? Watching this guy like storm off. And like, I'm so sorry. Like, just please don't take this as an offense. It wasn't y'all, it was us, blah, 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 blah. I get in my Uber and I just text him like, I'm sorry, you're struggling right now. If you ever need someone to talk. And he just goes, fuck you, like, you're such a bitch, you're not even worth my time, bye. And I was like, okay. And I was like, whatever. And I left it at that. And that is the end of my first date.